start recording. There we go. All right. So at this point, we've seen some good kind of cool features for building this. I'm not really going to do anything new in terms of tools today, right? We'll definitely come back and look at the individual origin stuff and insetting a bit more. But I figured this would be cool to just show you a little bit more about how to delete faces like we've done, how to bridge, and how to extrude border edges. So things we've already done in the previous videos. I'm just going to spend, like about 10 minutes doing them here. So remember, a big thing that we're going to end up using on this model is border edges, right? We're going to work in edge selection mode. Remember, we have edit mode right up here, right? It's this little pull down menu right there, right? You click on it, you have object mode, you have edit mode. Once you're in edit mode, remember you have these right here, right? Vertex, edge, face. But remember, there's actually default quick keys if you're using industry compatible, right? If you've set up your Blender on our computers that are finally up and running, cool, right? Remember, if you go to edit preferences, key map, make sure to switch to industry compatible instead of the Blender defaults, because that's what we're using in class is industry compatible. That's what gives you Alt, left, middle, right mouse button, WER, right? All the quick keys we've been using on our quizzes, on our final test, right? So we could kind of hopefully memorize these at some point. But remember, also, 1, 2, 3, 4 for vertex, edge, face, and object mode, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, 2, if you're using industry compatible, is edge selection. So you don't have to go up to edit mode and then click on these. You can just hit 2 on your keyboard. That's faster and that's easier. Remember, your progress checks for today. Windows save screenshot also, right? It'll be in your recorded video again, because it never hurts to be, retaught things. Remember, it's on the board, though, too. Window menu save screenshot. This takes a picture of exactly what you're seeing here. And it brings up a browser, and you can go save, right? Window save screenshot. You just save right on desktop, save screenshot, and then you just find it, turn it in, right? I know most of you guys know how to do that already, but, occasionally I still don't get screenshots, right? So remember, that's what we're looking for, right? Most of our progress checks are screenshots. Only the bigger ones are worth a lot more points. Do I want to actually get the Blender file? Okay. So there we go. Just some quick reminders there. Now remember, in 2 for edge mode, we've got all of these edges right here that are not border edges. See how that edge right there has 2 faces connected to it? That is not a border edge. You should not extrude that, right? The only things you should ever extrude or inset are faces or border edges. And really, you can't inset border edges. You can really only inset faces, right? But for extruding, it should only ever be a face, a polygon, or a border edge. So remember, edges with only one face connected to it, right? Edges that are actually at the end of geometry. See how there's no more polygons here? That's a border edge. Those you can extrude. If you extrude those, they create regular manifold geometry, which is good geometry. If you extrude an edge like this, it'll create non-manifold. That can cause all kinds of problems. Many of your tools won't work in those areas. The subdivisional surface modifier will look weird and pinched there. UV and wrapping can have problems, right? Generally, non-manifold geometry is not good. So the only things you should ever extrude are a border edge or, a face, right? Remember, 2 for edges, but it is edit mode right here, edge. And then you can simply go in and select 1, 2, as many edges as you want to use, right? But there's no rule. You don't have to just use all the edges I do, right? In this case, maybe I just want to take this one edge here and, W for move. Remember, the white circle is your view move, but when using industry compatible, middle mouse button automatically does that. So it can be quite easy to do view moves without even grabbing on the handle, just middle mouse button, right? So you select the border edge, and remember, we have our extrude tool right here. It's right there, right? It's kind of about midway down. There's a default quick key for that, Control E. E for extrude, E for elephant, E for elevator, right? Now, remember, the extrude tool comes with 2 handles. The yellow plus, which kind of does average normal direction, which sometimes is really cool. But there's also this white circle, which is your view extrude. That works like view move, except it's extruding also. and middle mouse button does it. So I could either just left-click drag on the white circle to kind of extrude, and you see how you just left-click drag move on it. Allows you to move it based on the camera. But middle mouse button will also do it. So see how I can start to kind of view extrude this edge out? Now at this point, if I want to do more shaping, switch to move, right? W for move. Do another extrusion here. And you see I'm just extruding these border edges to kind of make the front area where a cockpit for this ship can go, right? So like I said, we've kind of been building something a little bit more like a drone engine for like hovering for this ship, but effectively this also is really going to be a ship that somebody could pilot. So I can easily come in here and just select some edges to move. Remember, you can switch to different edges. I don't have to keep extruding this edge right here. I could switch to this side edge right there. And I can extrude that out. Control E for extrusion, do a small little extrude there. If I want, W for move to view move it so it's out a little bit further. So remember, your extrude tool's right here. But remember, there's a quick key for it, Control E. And of course, that white circle is your view extrude. And you see how we can use the view functionality a lot more on this spaceship? It's got a lot more of kind of a free-form curved shape to it. So moving stuff or extruding stuff in view actually can be a great, fast way to get stuff where you want it to be at. But remember, this is still extruding, so it's still creating more geometry, right? Extrusions create new geometry. And I just keep extruding. If I want, I could rotate, right? E for rotate. That's got its own view. Middle mouse button will do that as well. And remember, you can always go back to anything you've already worked on and adjust it, right? Remember that. None of these are static. You can select any of these and move them to create whatever shape you want. So I can go back up here and say, hey, I want to move this up. Create a shark fin. I don't know, right? You'd actually probably want to extrude that to give it more geometry to do that. But remember, these are all something you can edit. I can do another Control E for an extrusion to kind of bring this up back here. And you see I'm kind of making kind of the start of the cockpit. It's not done, right? We've got weeks to work on this ship. But you can see now there's a bit of an area that could be a cockpit, and also kind of a bit of the bottom of the ship shape itself, right? And this can be moved up a little bit and rotated. Maybe another extrusion to here. Bit of rotate. Remember E for rotate? And you see how you can start to actually continually build the ship even without me doing new lecture. You can extend and build other parts of the ship just by extruding the border edges you want to. But you see how I'm kind of building further shape and further paneling, further form for this ship. I can eventually connect this up here. Now remember, you can also bridge border edges. In this case, maybe I don't want such a big gap between these sections. So remember, if I go to 3 for face mode, right, 3 for face mode. Remember, if you're already in edit mode, it's that one right there, that button. I can easily just go in here and select that face. Shift left click, right? Remember, left click is your primary interaction when you have industry compatible on. Left click, left mouse button. I could select those two faces. Delete, right? Remember, delete brings up your delete menu, faces. And I can also grab the same two on this other side here, right? Just a little bit below that inset I did. Delete, faces. And now, and keep in mind, I don't have to bridge all of these edges. I can just bridge some right now. I feel like I'll do kind of maybe these 3 right now. So left click, shift left click, shift left click. Now you notice that's 3 edges. If you're going to bridge stuff, they have to be in different parts of the model. Separate selections. So see how I go kind of to the same part that I deleted the same kind of faces on the other engine? And I could shift left click, shift left click, shift left click to select 3 there. So see how that's 3 edges to 3 edges on different parts of the model. And now I could right click. Remember, we've seen this a bunch on our previous project. Right click brings up your context menu. In this case, I'm in edge mode, right? And that's where we can get that bridge edge loops feature. And you see how that could bridge that together? Now here's the thing. Bridge edge loops has its own options down here. If I click on this, it opens up the bridge edge loops options. And you'll notice one of the options is number of cuts. So if I want to, I could actually add a couple of extra edge loops here. So that I have kind of, you can see kind of like 3 to 3. So there's 2 extra edge loops that match these. And that now allows us to go grab these 3 edges and these 3 edges, right? Remember, same number, same number. Now you'll notice there's one edge here and one edge here not selected. If that's the case, then watch what happens when I bridge. Right click, bridge edge loops, just like I did a minute ago. It bridges those together and merges it. And you see how all of a sudden now we have kind of these connected in a different way? And you can see how this all of a sudden starts to come together into something a bit more spaceship-like, a little more interesting. And once again, we can see that as we work, we can adapt and play with different stuff. Right? I could always go to face mode, 3 for faces, bring this face in a little bit. Maybe even up a little bit, right? Create a little more shape. But all of a sudden, we see deleting faces gives us the border edges. And then, of course, we can extrude border edges to create wholly new areas, but also to connect, to join up sections, we can bridge. All right, so I'm going to save that as a new version. Like I said, you guys do not have to be here yet for your progress checks, but I did want to give you guys at least a little bit of new stuff today. But you notice it wasn't anything new in terms of tools. We've already seen these in our previous lectures and our previous videos for this ship. I just did it further to more sections.